Casting Crowns is a contemporary Christian and Christian rock band started in 1999 by youth pastor Mark Hall, who serves as the band's lead vocalist, as part of a youth group at First Baptist Church in downtown Daytona Beach, Florida. They later moved to Stockbridge, Georgia, and more members joined. Some members of the band currently work as ministers for Eagles Landing First Baptist Church in McDonough, Georgia. The band has won Grammy and Dove Awards. History. Formation and self-titled debut. Christian rock group Casting Crowns began as a student worship band in Daytona Beach, Florida, in 1999. Led by singer, songwriter, and youth pastor Mark Hall, the group initially included guitarists Juan DeVervo and Hector Cervantes, violinist Melody DeVervo, and drummer Rob Cervantes. The group relocated to Stockbridge, Georgia, in 2001, adding Chris Huffman on bass, Megan Garrett on keyboards and accordion, and drummer Andy Williams. This augmented version of Casting Crowns released 2 independent albums on CD, both of which were well received in the Atlanta area. Both independent albums were efforts on the part of Mark Hall and the rest of the group as outreach projects for youth in the area. The group won the GMA Regional Songwriters Competition at Palm Beach Atlantic University, West Palm Beach, Florida, in both the Best Song and the Best Artist categories in 2004. Although the group was not searching for a record label, one of the group's albums found its way into the hands of Mark Miller, lead singer for country group Sawyer Brown, who was struck by Casting Crowns' driving pop rock style and Hall's vocal delivery of his hard-hitting but devout songs. Miller signed Casting Crowns to his fledgling Beach Street Records, a division of Reunion Records with distribution by the Provident label group, making Casting Crowns the first artist signed to Beach Street Records. Mark Miller took the group into the studio along with co-producer Stephen Curtis Chapman, himself a popular artist on the CCM musical scene. The resulting eponymous album, Casting Crowns, was released in 2003 on the Beach Street imprint. The album quickly made them one of the fastest-selling debut artists in Christian music history. The album's third single, Voice of Truth, spent a record-breaking 14 consecutive weeks at number 1 beginning in 2003. Voice of Truth is also used in the trailer and the ending from the movie Facing the Giants. The album was certified platinum in 2005, and in 2011, the group received their first gold certification for a single for the song, Who Am I from their debut record. 2005 Euro 2006, Lifesong and Lifesong Live Lifesong followed in 2005, debuting at number 9 on the Billboard 200 Albums chart. The album had 3 singles, a Euro OE Lifesong Euro, a Euro OE Praise You in This Storm, a Euro, and a Euro A Does Anybody Hear Her? A Euro. Lifesong spent 9 weeks in the top spot, with Praise You in This Storm remaining at number 1 for 7 weeks. Apart from being successful in the charts, Lifesong earned Casting Crowns their first Grammy Award for their work on the album in 2006. In 2006, the group released Lifesong Live, which included live performances of songs from their studio album Lifesong. 2007 Euro 2008, The Altar and the Door and The Altar and the Door Live the band's third studio album The Altar and the Door debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 Albums chart and number 1 on the Hot Christian Albums chart upon its release in August 2007. 10 weeks after the album a Euro unregistered trademark's release date, it was certified gold by the RIAA. On September 27, 2007, the band embarked on the A Euro Altar and the Door Euro unregistered trademark tour with Leland and John Waller. The tour was highly successful, grossing $4.4 million in ticket sales. Casting Crowns broke their own record in 2007 when the single East to West from The Altar and the Door hit 16 consecutive weeks at number 1. The song ended up enjoying the top spot for a total of 19 weeks, now their most successful single to date. Slow Fade was also released as a single, and was included in the soundtrack of the Kirk Cameron film Fireproof. In 2008, Casting Crowns scored their 8th number 1 hit with I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, a track from their newly released Christmas album entitled Peace on Earth. equals 2009 a Euro 2011, Until the Whole World Hears equals, in early 2009, drummer Andy Williams left to pursue a further calling with blessings from the band. The drummer was replaced with Brian Scoggin and his red locks of hair, an irony Mark mentions on tour. Casting Crowns was one of the only American bands to ever have been invited to North Korea. They attended the 2009 April Spring Arts Festival in Pyongyang where they performed with the Annie Moses Band. This was Casting Crowns' second time invited to the festival sponsored by Global Resource Services, the first time being in 2007. On August 30, 2009, Casting Crowns performed on Huckabee, Mike Huckabee's political show. Casting Crowns' fourth major studio album, Until the Whole World Hears, was released on November 17, 2009, debuting at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and selling over 167,000 copies in its first week alone, setting a new record for the highest Christian album debut in history. It was certified gold within 4 weeks. The title track and first single from the album became the group's 9th number 1 single in January 2010. Before the album was released, the band went on tour with Matt Redman for the Fall Until the Whole World Hears tour. They went on the first spring leg of the tour with Cutlass, and toured with 10th Avenue North on the second spring leg. In April 2010, Casting Crowns won the Dove Award for Artist of the Year, their first ever win in that category. A music video for the title track of Until the Whole World Hears was posted on the band's YouTube page on August 23, 2010. The track Glorious Day was released as a single in 2011 and reached number 1 on Billboard Christian Songs during the week of April 23, 2011. Equals 2011 a Euro 2013, Come to the Well equals. Courageous, was released as a single on July 19, 2011. The music video for the song was released on June 13, 2011 and promotes the film Courageous. The song was featured on their latest album, Come to the Well, which was released on October 18, 2011. Jesus, Friend of Sinners, the album's second single, was released in 2012. In 2012, Josh Mix joined the band, replacing guitar player Hector Cervantes. The Acoustic Sessions, Volume 1, was released on January 22, 2013. In early 2013, the band recorded their own version of the hymn I Surrender All for the album Jesus, Firm Foundation. Also, lead singer Mark Hall recorded the title song with Mike McDonough of 10th Avenue North, Stephen Curtis Chapman, and Mondeeza. To end the year, the band joined Chapman, Natalie Grant, Matthew West, and other artists on the Story Tour 2013, where they will perform holiday favorites and selections from the Story. Equals 2014 a Euro Present, Thrive and Glorious Day, Hymns of Faith equals. In September 2013, the band released All You've Ever Wanted, the first single from Thrive which was released on January 28, 2014 and charted number 6 in Billboard Euro's Top 200 in its first week. An accompanying book, written by Mark Hall, was released along the same time as the album, and explains the walk of a child of God and how we should dig deep and reach out. In early 2015 Casting Crowns released the hymn album Glorious Day, Hymns of Faith, including Casting Crowns Until the Whole World Hears singles Glorious Day, and Blessed Redeemer, and acoustic versions of If We Are the Body, and Praise You in This Storm as well as 8 hymns, mostly covers. Ministry. In keeping with the Great Commission, Hall describes their music as a ministry of discipleship. 4 members of Casting Crowns currently minister at Eagles Landing First Baptist Church in McDonough, Georgia, where they play during the contemporary worship service on Sunday mornings. They do the band part-time around their full-time work of mentoring teenagers at the church. They often tour from Thursday to Saturday so that they can be home for church on Sunday morning and Wednesday night. Members, current, Mark Hall a Euro-led vocals and songwriter, Juan DeVevo a Euro guitar and background vocals, Chris Huffman a Euro bass and background vocals, Megan Garrett a Euro piano, keyboards, backing vocals, Melody DeVevo a Euro violin, backing vocals, cello, Brian Scoggin a Euro drums, Josh Mix a Euro lead guitar and background vocals, former, Andy Williams a Euro drums, Hector Cervantes lead guitar and background vocals, producers and executive producers, Stephen Curtis Chapman producer on Casting Crowns. Mark A. Miller producer on Casting Crowns, Life Song, The Altar and the Door, Until the Whole World Hears and Thrive. Terry Hemmings executive producer on Life Song, The Altar and the Door, Until the Whole World Hears and Thrive. Books, Life Stories by Mark Hall, Your Own Jesus by Mark Hall, The Well by Mark Hall, Thrive by Mark Hall. Discography. 2001, Casting Crowns, 2002, What If the Whole World Prayed, 2003, Casting Crowns, 2005, Life Song, 2007, The Altar and the Door, 2008, Peace on Earth, 2009, Until the Whole World Hears, 2011, Come to the Well, 2013, The Acoustic Sessions, Volume 1, 2014, Thrive. Achievements, career sales have exceeded 5 million records. Voted CCM Reader's Choice Awards Favorite Band, Favorite New Artist, and Favorite Album in 2005. Life Song voted Inspirational Single of the Year by online music fans in the 2005 CMSingles.net Awards. Praise You in This Storm was the 5th most played song of 2006 according to A&R magazine. East to West voted AC Single of the Year, and Inspirational Single of the Year by online music fans in the 2007 CMSingles.net Awards. Casting Crowns was the most played artist on Christian radio in 2007, according Radio and Records weekly charts. Casting Crowns is the second fastest Christian band in history to have their first 2 albums certified platinum, the fastest being Jars of Clay. See also, List of awards and nominations received by Casting Crowns. References. External links, Casting Crowns official site, Casting Crowns artist profile on Christian Music Review, The Altar and the Door album review on Christian Music Review, Casting Crowns on Worship Song, The Altar and the Door Tour 2009 concert review from NewReleaseTuesday.com, official YouTube channel, official GodTube channel.